Well, welcome to this video, which is part of a series of videos dissecting the official sample of NEBOSH's NG2 practical project, where we're trying to figure out what NEBOSH did in their sample so you can do the same thing. Now, word of warning, don't be copying it word for word. Use your own words. Do not take any risks of being accused of malpractice. But let's look at the structure, let's look at what they did so that you can apply some of those learnings in your own NG2 report. Right, in this video, we're going to look at part 4, which is review, communicate and check. Quite a small section at the end. And notice that we've got some words in bold here, look, reasoning in bold and in bold. It's like NEBOSH are really trying to help you out here. So the first bit, planned review date / period. So you can put a date in there. Or a period. A period could be a year. Say 12 months would be a period. So let's put that in. So here it says, company policy is to review risk assessments at least every 12 months. 12 months is the period. And we've put a date in. Therefore, I set the review date for 12 months time, 25th of April, 2023. Great. But notice NEBOSH want reasoning as well. And they put reasoning in bold. So why? Why 12 months? Well, it's easy, isn't it? It's company policy. That's it. Done. Company policy. Now, I did know of one student, and this was really harsh and unfair. They got failed because they put 6 months, and it was an outdoor muddy area, agricultural. And they said, well, I want to review it during the winter because I want to see the impact of the poor weather on the outdoor areas, particularly in relation to slips, trips and falls due to mud. And the examiner failed them on that basis and saying, no, you'll pick that up in an inspection. You don't need to review the risk assessment. Bit harsh. Bit harsh. Anyway, on the second attempt, they changed that to 12 months and they passed. No, actually, no, they failed, but that's another story. Yikes! Next bit, how the risk assessment findings will be communicated and who you need to tell. So it's how you're going to communicate it and who to. Let's look at what they did. So notice we've got some job titles. We've got the who, finance director, workshop, stores manager, and then we have, I think, some workers down here. So basically, we've got frontline, middle management, senior management. All right, cover those three: frontline, middle, and senior management. And then the how. Well, here it says we're going to have a meeting with the finance director, and we'll agree the actions. So we're going to get authority for these actions here. All right? You don't get to decide what the actions are. You make recommendations, but the boss gets to decide. And then we're going to provide a summary of the findings and actions to the middle management people, and these will be emailed with follow-up meetings if required. And then we're going to do a toolbox talk where we're going to advise workers on the actions that are being taken, and then we're going to put a summary of the risk assessment actions to be posted on the company intranet. Now, if you've been paying attention to your element 3 of the course, where we talked about communication and the methods of communication, you may remember that there are verbal, written, and graphic forms of communication with various pros and cons. And one of the general rules was use a variety of methods of communication. And notice we've got that. We've got a meeting. We've got an email. It goes on a notice board. We've got a toolbox talk. We've got a variety of different methods depending on the person. Next, we've got how will you follow up on the risk assessment to check that the actions have been carried out? And actually, this is like when you're doing risk assessments, this is one of the hardest things. It's very easy to come up with grand ideas as to how to make things better. Very difficult to make sure the actions actually get done properly, and sustained in the long run. And so what is your process for making sure that this actually gets acted on? Well, let's see what NEBOSH have said. I will set diary reminders for roughly 10 days before the action is due to be completed. I will speak to the responsible person for each of the actions. Right, so diaries, reminders in Microsoft Outlook or whatever it is, a task. Ping! Action due in 10 days. Speak to Gary. Okay. And then I will speak to Gary to find out the progress. Hey Gary, how are you getting on with that action? Should the action not be on target for completion? Bloody well, to be honest, I got time to do all these safety actions. Yeah, all right, yeah, might need to do something about that, Gary. I will find out why it's behind. Is it down to finance? So, Gary, what appears to be the problem? I just ain't got enough budget, Will. All right, so would it be helpful if I went and spoke to the finance director to sort that out with you? Yeah, bloody well would, Will. All right, so we're gonna escalate that. So if it's a finance issue or another resource issue, if any actions look like they're not going to be completed on time, I will speak to the finance director. I'm like, hey boss, Gary's really struggling to get this action done because he hasn't got the time and he hasn't got enough budget. That's because Gary's a f***ing muppet. Yeah, but who employed the muppet, boss? Actions that are very overdue, i.e. completion is more than 6 months late, will be referred to the managing director via the finance director. Right, so you see there's a bit of a process here. Diary reminder, talk to the colleague, find out if they're on track. If they're not on track, find out why they're not on track. Escalate to a senior person, your boss. Escalate to your boss's boss in some kind of management review, and so on. Now you don't have to copy that. You can come up with your own process, but just show that you've got a decent process to make sure the actions get followed up. Hey, sorry to butt in. If you do want me to read your NG2 practical, or if you want me to check out why you failed on your NG1 exam, check out our NEBOSH National General Certificate Rescue Package. Link right here. Check it out. Right, let's just put a top and tail to this. Last thing you should do before submitting is make sure you fill in the damn form properly. So let's get your learner number down here, your learner name, and make sure that you fill in this bit up here at the start of the risk assessment, put the company name, the date, scope of the risk assessment. Yeah, name the file accordingly, learner number, name, course provider. Actually, I'm in two minds about the course provider. I do wonder if some examiners who work for competitor course providers might be tempted to downmark. No, I don't. No, I think that would be unfair. I don't know any examiners who would do that. But you never know. You never know. There might be some psycho out there. Do you need to put your course provider name in the file? No, you don't. Yeah, your name and number is probably quite sufficient. So, hey ho, hope that's helpful. If not, got any questions? Drop me a line, comment, email, so on. Anyway, catch you later.